I was born September 16th, 1947. Actually, I was born in Hodges Hospital, which had been torn down for years. We lived in a small house on County Road 35 in Limrock, Alabama.
Where did you live most of your childhood?
Most of my childhood, I lived down in Shipman's Cove, where the old house is standing right now.
What was it like growing up in Limrock?
Growing up in Limrock was like growing up in any other part of the county. We hunted, fished, and you look around these mountains here. I spent most of my time rambling around through the mountains, squirrel hunting, around these creeks and fishing and hunting and thinking, playing baseball. We played baseball, we played corkball, we played horseshoes, and people go up north and out west and bring the little old burros back to we try to ride those things and get skin up all over. And we'd have corn cob battles. And, just to be honest, we had a lot of entertainment. There was no time we never knew how to say the word boring.
Did you have to work as a kid?
Well, they say I didn't, but I started hauling hay and scooping corn, things like that when I was about 12-year-old. We grew a few acres of cotton, and they had a thing called cotton picking vacation. And it's hard to believe it. You would call it cotton picking vacation. That is one of the dumbest things I ever heard of. Taking a vacation to pick cotton is just absurd. And we had to pick cotton, and I hated that more than anything. And I go buy a cotton patch nowadays, makes my back hurt.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school at Limrock Junior High. I used to tell the kids when I taught school that I went to Limrock University, and it was a junior high school that closed up, I guess maybe back in the early 60s. It went K through 9, and then it cut back to K through 8, and it kept cutting back until it closed down.
Where did you go after that?
I went to Scottsboro High School.
How did you get to school?
Oh, man. We rode a school bus from Limrock to Scottsboro. At that time, Scottsboro ran a bus into the county. You had the choices whether you want to ride the bus to Woodville or you want to ride the bus to Scottsboro. So I chose to ride to Scottsboro.
Tell me about how long you played baseball and for what all teams did you play?
I couldn't remember all the teams, but I could tell you I played from the time I was 14-year-old to the time I think I quit when I was 40. And I think I counted up the other night. Very unusual because there were so many baseball teams back then. Every little community had a baseball team. And I think I played fast pitch softball and baseball on a little bit over 100 fields. So you can visualize when you ride around and you see trees growing up where the baseball fields used to be, and kids playing baseball now at 3-year-old, and when they get 18-year-old, they don't play anymore. It's right the opposite. Used to, you knocked flies, ran down and played home run derby and something until you got big enough to play on a team. And then you played on the team until you got old enough to, we couldn't play anymore.
What's one of your favorite stories from playing baseball?
Oh, I got 100 stories, probably 200. Two of my favorites is when I hit 3 home runs in one game, and I hit 4 home runs in one game. And some people hear that, you think, man, he's a home run hitter, but that's half as many home runs as I hit in my entire life. And then the last time I batted, I think I was 39, maybe 40. I wanted to get a hit so bad that I said, God, please let me get a hit. I stood there and let 3 fastballs go by right down the middle and didn't even get the bat off my shoulder. So that means never ask God to help you defeat another person when you're doing the same thing. Because that's just not his game.
Where did you go to college? What did you go to college for? And what was your career?
I went to college at it was Livingston College then, and now it's Northwest University, I think.
University.
I went to college. Honestly, I can't tell you why. I went to Northeast for a couple of years, and I worked a little while, and I was making about $65 a week. And I went to Northeast for 2 years, and then took a trip down to Livingston. I thought I was going to play baseball. Honestly, I just didn't have enough discipline to stay with the program. So somewhere along my senior year, Mr. Clemens, A.A. Clemens, the superintendent, called me and offered me a job teaching in Skyline the year before I graduated. So that's how I started teaching in Skyline, and I stayed up there, I think, 13 years, and then moved around to Woodville, Paint Rock Valley, and central office, etc.
What was your favorite thing about working in education?
My favorite thing working in education is didn't happen then, it happens now when I see students that I had years ago. Occasionally they come up and tell me, that they appreciate what I did, and they come and tell me they would never have graduated had it been for me, and just the compliments I get from the years gone by. You never know about a student until you see him grow up, and then that's where you get your pleasure.
Have you ever had any near-death experiences?
I don't know if you could call them near-death, none of them still alive. But yes, I guess you could. When I was a 3-year-old, my dad had appendicitis operation, and I took his pain pills, and they put me to sleep. Then they had to put me on ice to awaken me, and panicked all the neighbors and the kinfolks. Then I got 5-year-old, and I had something called walking pneumonia. I would be fine 1 minute and gone 1 minute, and I kind of they thought I had died, and my grandmother stayed with me and awakened me and got everybody back in, and they lost their panic. And then, I don't know, a few years later, probably 12, I almost got hit by a car, and I jumped just enough to get over the fender and land on the other side. And that was and then I don't know, went over here, this old rock crusher still there. Mike Wales and me, we thought we could swim. So we got across. He made it back barely. I got out in the middle, and I just almost drowned, and he couldn't swim good enough to get me out, but he threw me a big old plank, and they got me out. And that's probably the only time in my life I've ever been really scared, but that scared me. And then I had a car wreck, and a pretty bad one. The truck hit me and hit the spare tire, and it knocked the spare tire through the front windshield, but I just happened to be lucky enough to duck, and it didn't hit me. And then, I don't know, so many of them. And a few years back, I was peeling around here and got bit by a rattlesnake. And I don't know, that didn't seem like near death, but, some people think if you get bit by a rattlesnake, it's near death, but it's just one of those things that happen. I think there's several more, but those things are not something I like to recall.
What about some of your hunting stories about your dogs barking?
Well, I had what I thought was the best coon dogs around, and I had good bird dogs. And I've been lucky enough to be able to walk all these mountains and valleys, and even hunt in Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, and just all around West. Made a lot of friends, and between the hunting, the fishing, and the baseball, I guess I would apologize to all you kids for the time I spent enjoying myself. I don't know if I did a good job doing everything else or not. Well, over on a place called Goat Bluff and Sand Springs. My brother-in-law, Brad Roger, Gentle, 3 or 4 more of us go hunting over there on Friday and Saturday night. We'd hunt all night long. Well, about 1 out of 10 times, there's something in the woods. It would make no noise whatsoever, but it would run our dogs back to us. And they would get basically right between their legs with their hair standing up, and they would not leave. And that's happened to other people that told me about it. And to this day, nobody has seen anything. The only really contact is a guy from Chattanooga brought his hog dogs down there, and they had made contact with whatever it was, but he carried them out in his arms. One of them was cut pretty bad. But to this day, nobody has ever seen what it was. A lot of people claim they've heard the trees falling and stuff like that, but I never heard anything except when we'd walk out, whatever it was, we'd walk close enough to it that we could hear him step or her step or whatever. When we stop, it would stop. It's a mystery.
What have you done in retirement? What do you do now with your time?
Well, I get up early every morning and I go down to what's it called, Skyline Mini Mart. That's 8 or 9 real interesting characters down there. I won't call their names, but I don't want to offend anybody. Got one young guy down there. He's probably the youngest one, but he's the best truth teller in the world, or he's the best liar in the world. Because every time he tells something, no matter how absurd it is, 2 years later when he tells it the exact same way. Got one guy down there who claimed he was out in Arkansas. It came a hailstorm and they knocked the geese out of the sky and he was picking them off the ground. Which I was buying that story altogether. Till he looked out the window and he saw a deer stealing his watermelons out of his garden and going across the field with them on his antlers. Since then, I don't know. His stories, when he tells the truth now, it's kind of hard to believe. Then we got one guy that's actually seen Bigfoot. He's quiet guy. He doesn't brag a whole lot, but he has seen Bigfoot. And we got another guy that's really quiet. He doesn't say a whole lot. Now, his name was JR. I don't mind telling his name because I can't offend him. And then we got another guy there that's real grouchy, Every now and then he'll crack one. And then there's a few people that drift in, like Mutt Jeff. Oh, I didn't mean Mutt Jeff. Big William and Little William. I made a mistake there. Then we got, I don't know if you ever took chemistry or not, but we got a catalyst. Everything can be quiet, and everybody will be talking almost sensible. Then this guy comes in there named Squirrel. And then we named Squirrel. So we named him Maytag. Because he stirs everything up. He's got the big gift. And then Gomer, his cousin, Gomer buys boats for Squirrel, and Squirrel makes money off of them. But Gomer's real quiet, not very. He don't tell a whole lot of jokes. But these guys, apparently, I don't know that they I don't know if they make up anything or not. Maybe everything they tell is true, but that's not what everybody says. They got dogs that come out and they say, "You want a hot dog?" Dog says, "I want mustard on it." I don't know. It may be true. I don't know. But, sometimes it gets a little bit out of line.
Why have you lived in Limrock your whole life?
Never thought about leaving. And like I tell many people, when you start walking in the footsteps of your parents, for some reason or another in the back of your mind, you think you're different than people that move away. Because every time I walk across that hill, I know my dad's been there. Every time I see a woman like your mom hanging out clothes nowadays for whatever reason, I don't know, it reminds me of my mom. When I watch those Appalachian people washing in a wash pot, carrying water. I've done all those things, and I know all those things. And I know things that people don't even think about knowing. I would say 90% of the population of this world has never killed a hog and dressed it and cut it up in the yard on about a 20-degree weather with a hot wash pot. And then their mom and all the neighbor women came in and cut the tenderloin and made biscuits and gravy and sometimes potatoes. No doubt in the world, you could go everywhere in the world. I'm not talking about, and you would never, ever, ever have a meal that good. I don't know if because you're so cold and hungry, or just that good. I was born. My family was kind of different. My dad and mom had two girls, and 14 years later, they had a son, me, and 4 years later, they had another son that messed up the apple cart. I was the only child. I got everything, and then he came along, and he was the baby. And recently, my older sister deceased, and now my younger sister is 90 and doing quite well. So